The elite content creators focus on three systems and three systems only. And that's because they know when they master these systems, that is when they get the most optimal results. Therefore, in this video, I'm going to walk you through these three systems and how you can take the insights from the elite educational content creators and apply it to your own content in order to get results like the ones you see on screen now. So the whole philosophy of this idea and these three systems are built on the 70-20-10 rule. And by the end of the video, you'll know exactly how this rule works, and then you'll be able to go and apply it to your own content as well. This is going to be a really fun, exciting and informative video. I look forward to sharing this information with you. Let's get into it. So the first thing that these elite content creators know is that 70% of the work for their content should be done pre-video. Now, what does this actually look like in practicality? What makes up this 70% of work? Well, these are things like writing the script for your videos. This is also planning out your titles and your thumbnail. This is the research into what the video is actually going to be about. This is looking at your competitors and the people in your niche and figuring out what's working right now, what's not working. This is looking at your own channel and looking at your past 100 videos and thinking, where did I go good with these videos? Where did I go wrong with these videos? What other videos can I make? What idea and concepts can I take from my more successful videos and remove from the least successful videos? They also look deeply and keep on improving on the niche and the avatar. Now, this is something I've spoken in a previous video, but a lot of people will make these educational videos without even knowing who their avatar is. Who is your ideal customer? Picture him or her sitting in their room or sitting in a cafe and actually scrolling through YouTube and looking and clicking on your video. What do you want that person to look like? How old are they going to be? Do they have any kids? Are they in school? Are they in university? Do they have a certain type of job? Do they work in a certain field? Have they got a certain amount of wealth? You want to know all of these things. You want to have a clear image of your mind of the avatar that is going to be watching your videos and then potentially becoming a customer. And these elite content creators, they keep on deep diving into their avatars and keep on refining and looking and thinking, who is my ideal customer? Who is my ideal customer? Who is this video going to appeal to? Who is this video going to catch the eye of? And who can I turn into a potential customer? They spend lots of time, keep on refining. And they do the same with their niche. What problem am I solving? Who am I solving this problem for? And they keep looking in, they do some surveys, they do research, they look at the most painful problems that their avatars are having, and then they find out how they can solve that in the quickest and in the most seamless way and the cheapest way possible, right? So they look and do so much research before they've even sat and made any content. And once they've done all this research of their avatar and their niche and they have a good idea in their head, that's when the script writing will come into it. That's when they'll spend a couple of hours just writing down ideas, video title ideas, thumbnail title ideas, intro ideas, hook ideas. I remember Alex Hormozi telling me once that for every single video that he makes, he writes about 100 hooks out and then looks at them and thinks, which one is going to perform the best? He does the same with ads. He makes the same ad but changes the hook and does 50 different variations of the ad, just changing the hook because the hook is so important. So he spends like 80% of his time looking, okay, what's the first 30 seconds of my video going to look like? And then he spends the rest of his time planning out what the rest of the video looks like. But it's that hook that is so important. So they do this pre-video, these elite content creators, they'll do all this before they even switch their camera on, before they've got any sort of setup going. They'll do the script writing, they look into their avatar, they look into their niche, and they'll refine it as much as possible. And a lot of people miss this step. And that is why you're struggling to do your educational videos or you're struggling to get the results you want, is because you're completely skipping this big chunk of 70%, which is pre-video preparation, and instead you're just turning the camera on, rambling, and then hoping you can fix it in post-editing. But in reality, you've got it completely backwards, and it should be a lot of work up front, and then making the video actually itself and the way you record it and the way you edit it should only be a small percentage. But the big percentage is the work that you do up front. The big 70% is the work that you do before any content has been made. That's the script writing, it's the looking into, the topics, the niche, the avatar. Now, not only does this include the avatar and the niche, but it also includes your products and your call to actions. So I remember making this mistake in my own life. I had a self-improvement YouTube channel, but I didn't have an offer. I didn't have something that I was selling my viewers. So I was getting hundreds of views on every single video, but before the video had started, I didn't know, okay, in the first 10 minutes, I'm going to tell people about my community. In the first 5 minutes, I'm going to mention that I have this offer going on in my community. In the first 3 minutes, I'm going to state that I can solve this problem if someone joins my course or joins my product. I didn't have any of this written out. And the elites of the elites, they know exactly what their product is. They know exactly what their offer is, and they know exactly the call to actions. So to give you something from my personal, and I'll use this channel as an example, so I'm kind of, going behind the fourth wall here. So my product is either the $1 community, which I then upsell into my coaching program. And the offer that I offer people is to help online business owners or entrepreneurs build and scale an online community. And then my call to action is that usually in the first third of my video, I'll tell people if they want to join my $1 community, which is my cheapest product, then they can do that by clicking the top link in the description. And I have all this on my head written down on my notes before the video has even started, before I've even clicked record on my camera. I know all of this, the product, the offer, and the call to action, as well as my avatar, my niche, my video title, my thumbnail, the script. Everything is planned out before I've even hit record. And the final point I want to make on this 70% rule, which also makes up a big chunk, is what you can see here. The atmosphere, the background. So I remember how I had a client before and he was in the gym space and he was talking about health and wellness and how to build a better physique. Now the problem with him was that he was recording in a room like this. Now I can get away with recording in just a blank room with, a couple of lights and a couple of books, because what I preach is business, which includes focus and includes being a lot of time on your own or just with your team on your laptop. You don't want this noisy artistic space. No, you want somewhere that you can focus. And what I try to do with this background is instill that kind of calmness, but also that focused state. However, with one of my clients, like I mentioned, who was in the gym space, he was recording in just a white room as well, and it didn't have the same effect, because what he should have done, and he could have done better, and what he eventually did do, which made his results skyrocket, was instead record in the gym, or have a few weights behind him, or have at least a setup that, looks like he's in the right atmosphere and in the right environment. For example, if a lawyer was making a video, I'd want to see them in their office, or I'd want to see them in their library. As well as if a cook was making a video, I wouldn't want to see them in their bedroom, I'd want to see them in their kitchen, talking about the advice about how to cook better meals. So you understand, hopefully from that detail there, that the atmosphere and the background and the lighting that you have has to resemble the value that you're giving and the problem that you're solving. Like I said, this works for me because it's a very business-based background. All there is a couple of books, a couple of lights. It's a very focused room. However, the guy who makes fitness videos should be in the gym. The guy who makes cooking videos should be in the kitchen. I hope that makes sense to you. And again, this all has to be planned out, and this is what the elites do before any recording has taken place. They're very meticulous about this, especially the atmosphere and the background. So let me just quickly list off some things that we want to do pre-video, and this makes up 70% of it. We want to have our thumbnail idea in mind, we want to have our title in mind, we want to have the topic that we're going to be talking about, the niche, we want to have the script already written out, we want to have the avatar, so who's our ideal customer, we want to know exactly what our product is. Are you selling a community? Are you selling a course? Are you selling a service? We want to know exactly what our offer is. Who are you helping and how are you going to solve that problem? We want to know exactly what our call to actions are. For example, click the link in the bio, and how quickly you're going to say that. Is it in the first third of the video? Is it in the first 30 seconds? Is it towards the end of the video? We want to know the background. So for example, if you're a chef, you want to be in the kitchen. If you're a gym goer, then you want to be in the gym or have some weights around you. If you make business videos, you can get away with a background like this. And the atmosphere, what are the vibes you're giving off? And again, that comes from the background and your environment. Now that we've covered the 70%, which is the chunk of this rule, now we want to go into the 20%. And the 20% is what I call the present. So 70% was pre-video, 20% is present. Now all this is, in basic terms, is when you are actually recording the video. So me right now recording this video, this is 20% of the work. And you might be thinking, well, all you're doing is recording the video, just sitting down and talking to a camera. How can that make up 20% of the work? And this is where the skill side comes into it. So all the elite educational content creators know that the skill of speaking and communication and articulating your words correctly is extremely, extremely important, if not one of the most important things. If you've ever taken any kind of sales training, the first thing that people will tell you is that it doesn't really matter what you say. You can say whatever the fuck you want, really. That doesn't make a difference. It's how you say it. And it's the same if you ever take, advice of a dating guru. He'll tell you it doesn't really matter what you say to that girl. It just matters how you say it and the tone that you use. Whether you want to be upbeat and happy or whether you want to bring it down a bit and be serious and use some more pauses or lean in to make people listen. No matter what vibe you're trying to give off, your tonality and the dynamic that you use has to change. Whether you're trying to be serious and get a point across or whether you're just trying to get as much information out as possible, the way that you speak and articulate yourself and connect sentences and make them concise, this is all one big skill of communication, of language. And the better that skill of communication is, obviously the better your content is going to be. But people negate this. Again, like I said, people think, as long as I have fast editing and some clickbait title and thumbnail, I'll be alright. But what they don't realize is that the things that separate the elite from the guys that stay broke is these things, the skills of communication. How well do they get their point across? How concisely can they get their point across? And something for me was trying to get rid of my accent. If you haven't noticed, I have quite a strong accent from the country that I'm from. Obviously, it's a UK-based accent, but a lot of people, especially from countries outside the UK and within England, they find it quite hard to understand. And I realized that. And something that I'm working on personally in my life is trying to, okay, how can I tweak it here and there? Obviously, I don't want to just completely get rid of my accent. I do think it is quite a unique thing about me. It makes me stand out. But at the same time, how can I be a better speaker? How can I get my point across better? And if that means tweaking my accent a little bit or using less slang than I normally would or speaking slower than I would normally like to, then I'm going to do that because I'm improving the skill of my language, and it just helps my customers and my clients and my potential customers and my clients consume my information and my value, and hence in the long run it makes more money for me. So how well do you speak? That is the 20% of it, and again, it's a skill that can be learned. So whether you have an accent, whether you have some sort of shyness, some sort of social awkwardness, it doesn't matter because it's a skill. And whether you were born with shitty social skills or a shit accent, you can learn. You can learn English, you can learn accents, and you can learn to be a better speaker just like I did over many, many years of practice. Okay, so we've covered the big 70% chunk, which is what we're going to do before the video has even started. And we've covered the 20% chunk, which is what we're going to actually be doing during the video, which is me right now, the present moment. Now let's get into the final 10% of this 70-20-10 rule, which is post-video or post-production. Now simply broken down, all this means is editing and distribution. So in terms of distribution, this just means, okay, you've recorded your content, you've done all the work pre-hand, and you've made a decent video because your skills are pretty decent and you're working on them over time. How are we now going to distribute this content? Does this mean that we're going to hire a full team and make them work on our TikTok and cut our videos into smaller clips and chuck it on TikTok? Or are they going to chuck it into smaller clips and post it on Twitter with a caption? Or are they going to take screenshots and have like those written words and post that on Twitter and on Instagram? Or are we going to cut it up and put it into short form content with some B-rolls? Or are we going to have an extended version and put that on a second channel? Are we going to do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. How are you distributing this content? How are you marketing it? What platforms are you using? Are you using YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn? And how are you, basically spreading your words, spreading your message more? The most common way, obviously, is to have a long video like this and then have someone or you personally chop it up into smaller parts and distribute those smaller parts onto like Instagram Reels or TikTok or onto YouTube Shorts, etc., etc. There's a lot of distribution methods that you can use, and some more complex and some will need a team, some you can just do by yourself. But you need to know at least one distribution method. What is your main platform? Is it YouTube? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? I recommend, and one of my mentors, Alex Hamosi, recommends that you just choose one of these to begin with. And once you start to get some traction on that one platform, then you can start branching out to others. But it's good to just begin and focus with one channel, which I recommend for my customers and my clients is YouTube. I just think it's the best for making money, especially when making educational content. Now, the second part of this post-production after distributing your content is editing your content. How are you actually going to edit your educational videos? Now, if you want to know exactly how to edit your educational content, just like the elites, then I made a full breakdown of me editing one of my videos, a step-by-step guide, which you can find by clicking on screen right now.